Next up is a family-owned business, the Painting Panda Pottery Studio. Noelle and Herschell Wilson are the entrepreneurs who wanted to fill a void in downtown Tacoma, offering locals and visitors a fun activity. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So I'm thrilled to learn about your business, which fills a creative niche in Tacoma for fun things for people to do of all ages. Yes. So with that, please tell us about your business.
Sure, absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, we are a paint-it-yourself pottery studio in Freight House Square, right here in the Dome District. Started that not too long ago, and we just love it. It's a lot of fun.
So when you say paint yourself, what you provide are bisque, you call it, which are molds that are really cool. Can you tell me? And then you provide the colors, and people paint them and make their own creative masterpieces.
Yes. So, and that's exactly, I always tell customers that they're creating a masterpiece. They're creating a one-of-a-kind, unique piece that no purple monkey has ever existed before, like your purple monkey. But so we provide a variety of unpainted ceramics, which technically is bisque, but to customers coming in, it's, unpainted ceramic, unpainted pottery. And so we have everything from figurines to monkeys and lions and tigers. To
Star Wars figures?
Yes, we have some Star Wars pieces. We have some of our most popular pieces are anything to do with gnomes, mushrooms, and now dragons.
Oh, really?
So like the whimsical fantasy kind of pieces.
That makes sense.
But then, we have our classic mugs, plates, bowls. We have a really cool, one of my favorite pieces is our tentacle tumbler. So it's like a cup with like tentacles all around it,
cool.
Which is very fitting being here in Tacoma.
Of course, yeah.
So we tell them to choose their piece, whatever speaks to them. We provide them, they choose their colors. We have over 80 colors of glaze that they can choose from. There's no limit on the number of the colors that they use. And then we have tools and stuff. We can provide some inspiration or instruction if they have questions. And then really it's up to them to create their piece. They leave it with us. We do a clear glaze on it, and then we fire it in a kiln.
And that brings all the colors out and makes it shiny and beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You didn't mention the Darth Vader mug.
We've got a Darth Vader bank, which is a pretty impressive piece.
So people come into a studio setting, and you have tables there, and they go to the shelves, and they pick out whatever piece of pottery they paint it, and they're done. But and so that's the basic concept.
Yes.
But there's all different kinds of ways that you can enjoy that, from things for kids to things for adults.
Yes.
Right?
We are a very inclusive studio. We're all ages. We do get a lot of calls. They're like, "Do you allow kids?" I'm like, "Absolutely, we allow kids."
Yeah, you had them in mind when you created this studio.
Exactly. And it's a family business, but it's truly been a part of our family. Like I always tell my staff, I tell other people, like, this is like my fourth baby. So
you have 3 kids, and they love to paint pottery. And
yes.
So you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I go to the website, and I see the party hat, and the kids painting. It just sounds like a fun activity. But you can just bring your kids in on the weekend or whatever. You just walk in and do it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We tell folks that you don't need a reservation or anything like that. You just come on in and pick your piece and then just paint it. Right. The only time you need a reservation if you want to actually have a party or something like that, and that's only so that we can kind of get a gauge and that type of thing. But
make it the best experience.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, I think that is a great business, but you also have date night.
Yes.
That's really cool. So that's 7 to 10 o'clock, right?
Yep.
That is correct. Yeah, we call it late night paint night.
Okay.
We figure it's a great opportunity for folks that are looking for something other than going to the bars to actually have fun and go on a date. So.
But if you want to have a drink.
Late night paint nights, we offer wine, so different varieties, and then we have water, some sort of like Fresca or something like that for if you're not wanting to drink, and then like heavy snacks, so like sandwiches, nacho dip, chips, desserts. Like it's not just like a bag of chips. Like it's.
Yeah.
I like to throw a good party. So
sign me up. That sounds like fun.
And then it's also an opportunity, because if you come in during our normal hours, there's kids, there's families, there's everybody, and it's busy. Yeah. And so for that, we've got our lo-fi beats playing. You've got. It's just a more chill, relaxed atmosphere, and there's no kids.
So you also can take the kit home.
Yes.
Right? That's when you the kit for home. What is it called? Kit to go.
Yeah. Yep. So that was our COVID switch. our COVID pivot. I guess that's the word that everybody uses.
Yeah.
So we opened in September of 2019. You know, we were bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. We were
then COVID
excited.
hit.
We started out in a small space in Freight House, the very first space that we saw. We quickly started to outgrow that. Another space came available just down the hall. So we moved into that. We got all moved in in
hit.
February of
But you
2020.
survived. You've gone through it.
Yes.
And I think it's fascinating that this wonderful creative business is growing. You've been
Yes.
hiring staff and you continue to look for the next expansion.
Yep.
So that brings me to what I'm curious about is how did you two make the jump? I know you had a career in business, Lockheed Martin and Lowe's, and you work in higher education. But at some point, you decided to make a jump to start this business. I
Yeah.
think that's fascinating, in particular because it's so successful. So what led to you making that jump? I think it could be inspiring for others to hear.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you know, I think it was a couple of different things. Actually, the business plan, and I went to business school, so I kind of understood the whole concept behind having a business. But I was kind of nervous in doing it. And she always loved to actually paint pottery. Some of our dates back in the day were painting pottery. And so the concept was actually written out 3 years before we actually opened. My mother was sick with cancer. That was when I basically said, once she passed away, it was like, I need to really do something and not be afraid, because otherwise I'm never going to do it.
So you're afraid, and then it was time to make the jump.
It was time to make the jump. Yeah, it was really crazy.
Quick.
It was very quick, and it was more or less, hey, let's go. I told Noelle, let's go actually look at a space. I knew Freight House Square had a lot of affordable spaces, and I researched the night before where to get certain products and things like that. Went there and actually put down the deposit for the space, and I knew I couldn't back out. The only problem was I didn't have a kiln, and I didn't even plan for that. So I spent the night, that following night, calling around to places to see if they can fire for us. And actually, I got in contact with a business called Spun, who was gracious enough to let us, at 2 o'clock in the morning, they answered and said yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. They answered and said, and I said, oh, I'm sorry, I thought I was going to get a voicemail. And I spoke to the one of the owners there, and I said, you know, can we actually, I told the story.
Yeah.
I said, can we borrow your kilns to fire our pieces? And they said, absolutely, no problem. And so
That's
that's
wonderful.
how I got started.
Yeah.
So that's Tacoma, isn't
Yes,
it? All the
yeah.
supports. If you want to start a business, it's just an illustration of all the supports that are here for you. And SpaceWorks was another support?
Absolutely. So, you know, once we got into business for a little bit, we spoke to a lady called Liz who owns Stocklist, and she said, you know what, you guys should go through SpaceWorks. You know, Noelle goes by, because where she works, she goes by Stocklist all the time. And so we didn't quite know what that was, and so we then got in touch with SpaceWorks.
And what is SpaceWorks?
Well, SpaceWorks is an organization here in Tacoma that's a part of the Chamber of Commerce, and they help people get spaces. They also provide tons of different resources for different businesses,
yeah.
entrepreneurs. Also, there is and what's funny, the lady, one of the owners of Spun, works at SpaceWorks as well, and she runs the training program. So there's a lot of different training programs that SpaceWorks offers as well.
That's a great resource.
Absolutely.
So that's just an inspirational story that not only might encourage others who are wanting to make the jump, but to show how supportive of a community Tacoma is to start a business.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
I think, and the funny thing is now I work for SpaceWorks as well as own the business, but it really was a great institution, still is, that, you know, supports their businesses and they still stand behind them. And so without their support early on, I don't know if we would have made it. So there were so many different things that lined up correctly for us to be where we are today.
Yeah.
Particularly your grit, get up and go, and desire and creative approach to your business. So much fun.
And it's really been like, we're the perfect, you know, a lot of people say don't go into business with your spouse.
Yeah.
But for us, it was never a question of like, should we do this? It was like, all right, how do we do this? You know, like, let's do it. But I will say, I never wanted to own a business. That was always him. And then he kind of worked me down to, I'm like, okay, if I ever did, I'd want to own a pottery studio, because that was my hobby. I got started in college, and it just was a hobby that stayed with me through the years. And so we kind of, did the business plan and stuff. And then lo and behold, he's like, all right, we're doing it. And I'm like, okay, we're going to do this. But just the network and the connectivity that Spaceworks provided, and, me not coming from any kind of business background, like I was just the creative side of it.
Right.
But Spaceworks really helped me develop that business mind. And that was great to have, because I felt like already had that. I had all the creativity in how the customer experience. So that really helped solidify kind of my business brain of like, yeah, I'm a business owner. Like, that really helped. And that was during the pandemic. So,
bringing the creative and the business together,
Yes.
not only in the business, but in your marriage, and
Yes.
it all works wonderfully and beautifully. I can't wait to come and paint some pottery, so
Yeah.
you can expect me there.
Yes, please
probably
do.
date night, but
Yes.
we'll see. I can't tell you how much I appreciate having you here today. It's been a great story.
yeah,
And so thank you.
thank you.
We're out of time.
Okay.
That's it for Business Matters. Join me next time for more insight into the Tacoma business scene. See you then.